Race now.
BBC Radio Merseyside.
Now, there is a very special anniversary today for many in Merseyside. Going to watch sport, particularly football, is a popular pastime when we can do it before the restrictions kicked in. But today is the 25th anniversary of the Disability Discrimination Act. Liverpool, Everton, Tranmere, or even a team further down the football pyramid, thousands of disabled people enjoy going to watch the games every week. But access can be a real, barrier. And some say access to stadium for disabled fans is separate, but it's not equal, and it's not fully inclusive. Well, right through November, the BBC will mark the 25th anniversary of the Act. We're going to start our coverage this morning right here on Breakfast. Amy Wilson is a 38-year-old Everton fan and the fan liaison and access officer at Centre for Access to Football in Europe, and joins me along once again with Ellis Palmer down the line from Huyton. Ellis is our executive producer on the programme this morning and lives with cerebral palsy himself. We'll talk to Ellis in a second. Amy, just tell me, first of all, about your early life. What barriers did you face in education? And welcome to the programme, by the way.
Hi, thank you. Thanks very much for having me. In early life, I suppose the main barrier was around the choice of schools back in the late 80s, early 90s, prior to the DDA coming into force. The area in Huyton where I lived, there was a lot of local primary schools, junior schools, and literally 2-minute walk from my house was a senior school. But unfortunately, none of those schools had access for me being a full-time wheelchair user. So really the only choice when I started school, so that would have been 1986, was to go to a special needs school. So I stayed there up until the age of 10, and I started then to go to a local mainstream school that was connected to the SEN school that I was at, but that was only part-time. And then when it came to secondary school at 11, again, as there was no options close to home to go to any of those schools, so I had to go again to another school, which was
So straight away from the word off, really, it was a case of, well, this is just going to be either I just want to crack on with my education, but I've already got these barriers to try and overcome.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the case for nearly everyone who I knew at that point in time who was disabled and was looking to go to a mainstream school. I think at that point in time, for secondary school, so 1993 when I started, there was only one school in the whole of the Knowsley borough that was fully accessible for any child that had any kind of disability. So it was basically, there was no choice. If you wanted to go to a mainstream school, you had to go to that school.
Yeah, the choice wasn't there. I think Elliot wants to come in and jump in with a question. You're on, El.
How you doing, Snuggy? How's it going?
All right.
Amy, you're an Everton fan, a season ticket holder, in fact, since you were 13, I believe. What's the access like at Goodison?
Now it's far, far better than when I first started to go. And my first season, non-season ticket holder, was 1993. And I think at that point in time, there was something around maybe 15 wheelchair user spaces in the entire ground. So you were very limited in the choice of games that you could go to. You had to be pretty quick off the mark to get a ticket as soon as it came on sale, because otherwise you just literally would sell out within like half an hour, things like that. So there was very few spaces. I think at that point in time as well, there was only 2 properly designed accessible toilets. So again, that was quite frustrating, obviously, as Ellis would appreciate as well. The length of time it can take to go to the toilet as a disabled person, so that added on problems, and there was no access to go to the concourse at that point in time. So basically, if it rains, you just got soaked.
Yeah, and so you're not getting the full experience of going to the match, I suppose. You're just getting the bits, really, aren't you? You know, you're the accessible bits that were there. What's it like at Anfield as well? At the situation there, and I know you're a Blue, but you are part of football in Europe, centre for access to football in Europe. So it encompasses this, doesn't it?
It does. And I would say both grounds have made massive strides, Everton and Liverpool, in the time that I've been going. Initially, going to the derby at Anfield was not a pleasant experience, and not necessarily because of the fact we didn't win them. But as a disabled away supporter, you were not in the away end at Anfield, and at any time you do not away from the away fans, but I think particularly so in a Merseyside derby. It was always fine, don't get me wrong, but it was just something that I never particularly enjoyed, and I know quite a few of the other disabled supporters who used to go to the games didn't enjoy it, but it actually stopped people going because they weren't with the rest of the Evertonians. But as a result of the Premier League pledge, which came into being a couple of seasons back, Liverpool and as well say Everton have made changes to the stadiums. So now there's, I think it's 14 spaces for the wheelchair users in the Anfield Road side where the away fans sit. They're on a slightly elevated platform, so you do have that slightly improved sight line of the pitch. And one of the major things which I find a lot better now at Anfield is they've put in bigger and more spacious accessible toilets, because they were a problem in the older way section where only certain toilets could be used by certain types of wheelchairs because of the space that they gave. So, you know, for manoeuvrability and for allowing a companion to be able to fit in and help the disabled person, they've made much bigger toilets. And to be fair, Everton have done the same. We've now got elevated spaces in the main stand and the very back of the park end, which I believe are fantastic views from up there. And I'm now not pitch side and able to be on a raised area in the Gladys Street, which has made it, for me, a lot better, because you do feel more part of everything, and you can get that.
So we're heading in the right direction, but we just need to move a little bit quicker, really, don't we? Well, listen, we're almost out of time, but Ellis has got one final question for you.
You keep calling me Elliot, Snowy. You keep calling me Elliot.
I know. Do you know why? Because your dad's mate Paddy has got a son called Elliot as well, and that's where I'm getting mixed up. So there you go.
Of course. Amy, finally, very quickly, what are your favourite stadiums in the UK and Europe, and why?
I would say UK-based. Tottenham's new one is really good in terms of access and inclusion. I suppose it really should be, considering it's the newest in the country, but you feel part of everything. You're in as an away fan, you're in with the away fans. The sightline's pretty decent as well. There's a lot of great facilities for all disabled supporters there as well, not just wheelchair users. My other one probably in the UK is possibly a bit random, but I've always really enjoyed going to Swansea's Liberty Stadium. It was probably one of the first, as an away fan, that I felt like you experienced everything that away fans do, in terms of, you know, being able to be with your own fans, being able to reach the concourse, actually having low-level counters in the concourse as well, so I didn't need to rely on friends or family to go and get me a drink or some food. I could actually make that purchase independently myself. Newcastle, I quite like, and not a lot of people do, because of the height and being in the ye gods up there. But again, that's a really inclusive experience for me. And also, as a bit more of a lower club, is Derby County. They make a lot of small changes within each season to the facilities that they have for their disabled fans.
And the small changes can make a big difference. Tell you what, you've got some miles on the mileometer there. I think you've been to every single ground there. Well, Amy, listen, thanks very much. Thanks very much for coming on. And Ellis, we're going to talk to you a little bit later on the programme and find out more about you. And I promise I won't call you Elliot again. Is that all right, mate?
That's great. Looking forward to it.
All right, great stuff. There's Ellis. Ellis Palmer, who is our executive producer. And it's absolutely true, because I know his dad, and his dad's mate is called Paddy, and they're good friends. And Paddy's got a lad called Elliot. So that's where
you're getting mixed up.
Exactly
That's
there. But anyway, doing a grand job, El. I'll just call you El. There,
yeah.
Cover
Problem sorted.
Problem sorted. Cover all bases.